They may have activated the push to the front decision. They're not allowed to, and I just checked that, and they haven't. What else was I going to do? Oh yes, I was going to continue doing introductions for the various factions. So we did already talk about Estrategas al Carrer, who are the Co-Prosperity. Let's talk about the Third International. So these are the dudes in canoes. And in the Commune of France, we've got the French Baguette taking control of them. Then we've got the Y-Man in the Union of Britain. Spain is being played by the Empress of France. And I'm a little bit surprised that Spain's not got CNTFAI. I thought they had to. And I'm fairly sure they could have done that by now. So I don't know why Spain has not gone TNTFAI. Then we've got the Socialist Republic of Italy played by Mazdo. And then finally Switzerland being played by Gatto. And let's go back to the player map mode so we can actually see all the different players. So French Baguette. Y-Man. Oh, there's no Empress of... I see. I think that Spain may be screwed then. Mazdo and then Gatto. Then over in the Reichspakt, we have got Tyrant in command of Germany. Austria is Helmet Guy. No, it's Petit Pan. They did have to bring in a substitute because Helmet Guy kept on desyncing, and they were using up all of their hot join tickets on doing that. So each team can only rejoin a match a certain number of times. Well, certain players can only rejoin a match a certain number of times. Unless I think if they're the major, in which case they can join whenever. Then we've got the General John in the Ukraine doing a great job with all the volunteers being sent out. Bulgaria is the Dutch Englishman, having done a great job in the Bulgarian war as well. And then Sweden is being played by DWK, also doing a fantastic job with the volunteers. And then finally we have the Entente, led by Mackenzie King, literally and figuratively. Have they actually elected Mackenzie? I really hope that you've elected Mackenzie. I don't know if I'm supposed to be checking. I'm not going to check this, just in case. So Mackenzie King is in charge of them. Then we've got Is Only Game in the USA, and they've actually managed to cut the AUS in half. How exactly they've achieved this, I don't know. But somehow they have. Then we've got Volt Jumper over in the Dominion of India. Roars is in National France. And then Australasia is being played by Flameshot. So those are the 4 teams that we are currently playing with. And there was something that was bringing up that I was going to check. Oh yeah, I was going to see where on earth the AUS volunteers are. Because if anyone could have prevented that, it's them. New Orleans, Baton Rouge. These are the Germans. I wonder if they were always there. There's the Austrian. Cut off. Big time. This is one hell of a collapse for the AUS. I'm actually shocked that it's gone this badly for them. Have they just done Deal with the Devil? I think they've just done Deal with the Devil. Which means the AUS and the PSA are no longer at war, which means the PSA can now focus on the USA. And the AUS just needs to try and stay alive, which means defending New Orleans. And New Orleans is being attacked across the strait, and they are still losing. And the AUS even has air superiority. How are they doing this? I don't understand. Why is there no Spain? Probably because he lost connection. And they didn't want to spend another hot join ticket, or they ran out of hot join tickets. I feel like the US had a change of players behind the keyboard. It feels that way, doesn't it? It really feels that way. Let's just see if they brought in a substitute, though. Nope, still in his only game. Maybe he just wasn't there at the start? Because this is definitely one hell of a turnaround. Though I'm still not entirely sure how exactly he's winning these battles. CSA is dead. This was a proper four-way civil war, so now it looks like the PSA is going to come out strongest. And the PSA are being supported by the co-prosperity sphere. So they have proven themselves to be pretty strong. Mongolia, meanwhile, is dying to Fentieng. Then I guess they'll take East Turkestan and Kumal Khanate. And at that point, co-prosperity is Russia and China and Japan and Siam and Indochina. And that is scary, especially if you're the Dominion of India. So is the PSA getting given guns and stuff still? Nope, just support equipment. The volunteers are still there, but that's it. Meanwhile, AUS still not getting any equipment. I think that's what did it. The USA was actually being given guns, the AUS wasn't, and the AUS shortages are just killing them. So maybe the unit strength isn't... No, they're only barely short of infantry equipment. I was wondering if it was they had all of their units filled with manpower but no guns, but no, they have guns as well. I really don't understand why their units are so weak. I mean, I get it for the militia, but the militia are fighting militia. I can't check templates, so I can't see if these militia units are no, they're locked. They're event given. I don't know how he's done this. Yeah, if he's still in chat, ban him. But I probably will ask for a proper ruling on that. I'll send a message now. Alright, Fentieng took 7 states, Mongolia is gone. Now it's just East Turkestan and Kumal Khanate, which are left before the behemoth. Right, what else do I need to look at? Right now, nothing, I don't think. 17th of September 38, so I think we're going to be seeing Civil War. Oh dear, I need to make sure that I am sitting on Bhutan, because we have a hot train. Kinda, I was just about to get up and go make myself another pot of tea. Hello.
Be sure not to get stuck with the observer bug.
Yep. Thanks. I was literally just about to get up and go and make another pot of tea, and then that would have screwed me because I would have got the observer bug. Spain has returned. Okay, so the French Empress of France is here to take over Spain. Although this is going to be not CNT. I don't know if that's going to matter. Oh dear. The 1-2 lost connection. How have the legation cities gone this game? They don't tend to do very much. What's the little country on the western Sinai Peninsula? Oh, that's Germany. It's Germany controlling Suez. Observer mode's a feature not used often. I disagree with that. I think Observer gets used more than you would think. Especially by Paradox. Because Paradox does a lot of observing on multiplayer games. And on their multiplayer streams and stuff. For example, the 3-Day War. Okay, we're back in. Just going to make sure I can click on somebody else, like East Turkestan, Madras. And it looks like we're okay. Game is unpaused. We'll probably ramp it up soon enough. There it goes. Alright, so how is the Ottoman War going? Are they getting support from any of the others outside of volunteers? No, it doesn't look like it. Russia, Indochina, Japan, and Siam are all present. Iran, are you getting volunteers? Iran's getting volunteers from good old Ukraine. But that is it. And Saudi, no support. Egypt, no support. Although they are getting Lend-Lease from Libya, who is also in the war. Oh, you're talking about the Mashriq Kingdom. That's east, not west. Yeah, Mashriq Kingdom. It's a minor... It's basically the Levant. It's Arabian Levant. Or... Syria and Jordan? Okay, I'm not going to lie. My geography of Arabia is not great. Syria's this bit. I think this bit's Jordan. That's obviously Israel and Palestine. Beirut. And that's all Egypt. And I think Mashriq has not capitulated, which is quite astonishing. Haven't watched any Paradox multiplayer streams. They have the same problems. Not that I've seen. Remind me, how is manpower generated? It's based on your states and whether it's a core or not. So every state will have a set amount of manpower. So for example, the East Midlands have 2.23 million. You then get a portion of that manpower depending on your manpower conscription laws. So if we choose somebody who is not in the war, so for example the Dutch, we can take a look at their government and see that they're currently on limited conscription. So of their total population, which is 8.83 million, they can then get 7.5% manpower because of their limited conscription and the military draft focus that they have taken. They also have non-core population, but they get a much smaller fraction of that. So they have 250,000 non-core pop, of which they get 0.058%, as opposed to the 3% of their 8.8 million. So generally, the states with the bigger manpower plus higher conscription law means more manpower. So areas like Don Cuban Union, probably not that popular. Actually, they're not that bad. Oh, another hot join. Okay, so let me just make sure that I'm not accidentally muted or anything in any other places. We can turn music off. And then notifications. Okay, so we are back in. And we'll take a quick look at the USA. So it does indeed look like the PSA is starting to push against the USA in the north. Not making really rapid progress, but they could cut off a lot of units if they punch across here and take Chicago. And it kind of looks like that is what they're trying to do. Although, where are the volunteers? Russia's down here in the south, which is an interesting choice. And the attacks against New Orleans are continuing as well, although New Orleans with the Germans seems to be holding out just fine. Florida being attacked from many different angles, but because they've still got ports, for example in Houston and Miami, they're able to supply all of this. As long as they can keep the ships going, they're fine. However, Ukraine. That's an incredibly weak unit there, Ukraine. Whoops. And yeah, that cutoff is gonna hurt. So the United States has now lost 1 million. AUS has lost 1 million. Pacific States have lost 79,000. Is that really all they've lost? Yeah. Pacific States have lost barely anything. I mean, the American industry is now a roaring 120 factories, which is really quite impressive. And you'll have to excuse me, I hate eating on stream, but I'm hungry. Haven't had my dinner. So I just got like a granola bar. I didn't see that you guys were telling jokes, but that was a good one. Last joke, why are the Dutch so tall? So they can keep their heads above sea level. I approve. That's good. Apparently, yes. I don't know how they did that, but yes. How did they do that? Interesting. Must have been a very quick save edit. That might have been why the rehost took so long. Ukraine is having some manpower issues. Although they're only able to actually recruit 1.2% of their eligible core population right now, even on limited conscription, because the Hetman's army is reducing the recruitable population as well as the recruitment factor. So Ukraine is struggling a little bit. I wonder if it's possible to see how many they've lost. And what's the NTFA going to have to do? I mean, they have just got the election success, consolidating Spain. So I guess they basically have to start again. Maybe because the NTFAI still has cores, can they annex them to the cores? I can't look at Ukraine focuses, or rather I don't want to. Not right now. Once the Second World War starts, I'm happy to show all that stuff off. But while we're still in the run-up, no. I need to stop talking with my mouth full. Okay, Madras has capitulated. The admin used the country pilots options pre-game to get the AIs to do the right things. Yeah, but that wasn't true for Spain. It was definitely Kingdom of Spain, and they'd already gone quite far down the focus tree after Kingdom of Spain, when it should have been CNTFAI. So there's definitely been an intervention of some kind there, I'm just not sure how. Oh, that's a cut-off. They still have a port available, though. So the AUS is starting to look rather attacked on multiple different fronts. How are they doing in terms of capitulation? They're actually on about the same level as the United States. I mean, the big thing is, so long as they hold on to New Orleans and Texas, then they should be okay. Meanwhile, here it comes. The PSA attack going towards Chicago. Is the USA going to be able to respond to this? We have got the Japanese forces here. We've got the Russian forces here. We've got the Siamese forces here. All of the volunteers working really well together to get this cut off, and that's going to be a humongous portion of the USA forces. And there's no ports up here. Apparently the Great Lakes completely impassable to any kind of, you know, sailing vessel. This guy attacked the wrong one. He should have been attacking here. Russia screwed up, and it might cost them. Maybe the Spain player misclicked? No, there was no Spain player. So I don't know exactly how that happened. Because yes, the pre-game rules should have taken over, unless the pre-game rules are overwritten because there was a player. I don't know. Meanwhile, the Dominion of India has now been fully unified. Sitting here with a mighty 110 factories. How much did Fentien got? 93. So right now India is stronger than Fentien. Although India would also then be dealing with Russia, but then Russia would be dealing with the Reichspakt, probably. It's going to be interesting. I really do think that India is going to be the linchpin for the Entente. I'm expecting to see a lot of Entente forces here in India trying to hold on to it. The borders are very defensible. There's a lot of mountains, there's a lot of rivers. Especially, well, in fact, on both sides. Because even if they fight through Burma, which is almost entirely mountains, they then get to Bengal, which is almost entirely rivers, or they go through Afghanistan, which is the destroyer of civilizations. No. Death of civilizations. No, death of empires. Destroyer of empires. What is Afghanistan called again? Is there something of empires? Graveyard of empires. That's the one. And I just realised I've been really behind with notifications. So Bruiser George, Unknown Brother 47. Thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Killsteel, thank you. Travis. And have you seen Kyle? No, I haven't. Where's Kyle? Thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Oh yeah, the Strait as well in the US. True. But they have taken Chicago. They can now push north. And they might try and cut off the Upper Peninsula going north here. So this is a pretty nice counterattack by the Pacific States. Basically what they need now is for the AUS to not die. And we still have Ukrainian, we still have German forces in the American Union state holding on for dear life. We've got the Americans attacking into the Pacific States, but unlike the AUS, the Pacific States aren't dying as quickly. I'm really curious about that. Why were the Pacific AUS so weak? I mean, now that they're losing equipment, we can see that their units are definitely starting to struggle in terms of equipment usage and equipment shortages.
Taking cover.
So, for example, this guy is 200 equipment short.
Under fire.
This militia is 113. I mean, considering how much equipment these guys need overall, it's not a huge shortage. It's a sixth short. And that's on a unit that's under constant attack in what's effectively a pocket, although there is still a source of supply. It looks like they're having a bit of better luck on the main Mississippi defenses. New Orleans, meanwhile, has fallen. So AUS has suddenly taken a big hit in terms of capitulation. Their new capital is probably Miami, which is going to fall soon. And yeah, capital is Miami. That's another 15 victory points. Although Texas still has quite a few. Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. So it's a good thing that the AUS actually got Texas, and they are cord. So otherwise they would be in really, really bad shape, because the AUS doesn't always get Texas. Fighting through Burma cost you about 1 million men last time I did it. Can't recommend, especially in a multiplayer game where they can really entrench. But America's going for it. They're just attacking across the Mississippi like it wasn't there. I really wish I could look at the USA and see how many equipment they're short. I mean, no. Hovering over their equipment would show templates. Well, they're militia. They can't be changed. Unless they can. No, I'm not going to risk it. Not going to risk it, even though I'm very curious. Meanwhile, Iran has actually cut the Ottomans in half now. Is this an Iran that's being supported by players? No, this is an AI Iran that's managed to do a big cut-off, even if there are players present here. Though I suspect that these players are likely quite busy with the war in America. Meanwhile, the volunteers in the Aegean crossings, sorry, not the Adriatic, in the Aegean crossings are holding the Burgundians. For Pete's sake, I'm just going crazy. Bulgarians back. You know, the Bulgarians, the Burgundians in the Adriatic. Aegean. Well, actually, that's Marmor. Even this has a different name, doesn't it?